Bro science. It has a negative connotation. Don't listen to the bros, right? Maybe they're wrong. In fact, today we're going to talk about 8 bro science hacks that actually work. Listen, it's not for the reasons that they say, but they do work. We're going to break it down today.
This is my type of episode. I like this.
Let's go,
today.
bro.
I'm the expert today. Sit back. Let me go over these real quick with you guys. This is I like this because one, I fell in this category of the meathead guys that were lifting and bodybuilding and all those things like that, and I learned a lot. And this is later in my career, so I've got a lot more knowledge at this point. And
you've trained people.
Yeah, I've trained people. I understand. I have the education, I have the experience, I have a lot more knowledge. I kind of know like. And I remember having these conversations with a lot of my bodybuilder buddies that would be giving me tips on the competing time and dieting and all the things. And I'd be like, that's not how the science works. But I'd be going, okay, that makes kind of sense. Let me try that or do that. Like, so, and it also, not to go off on a tangent, it really is what helped me in the marijuana space, because this is very, very similar. There's a lot of bro science in the marijuana space of just passed down knowledge that has made it from generation to generation. And I remember being in that space and hearing it was like, I'm going through both of them at similar times. And so the parallels were just fascinating to me because they're both science, and the people are giving good advice for the plant or for bodybuilding, but the way they're describing the science, I understood that's not how, that doesn't make sense. You know?
No, I'm glad you said that, because the reason why it's called bro science is because you have bros telling you why you should do a particular thing, and then you say why, and then they give you
their explanation is a little weird.
Off. It's not actually correct.
Yeah.
However, you want to ask yourself, why
has it passed down?
Why is it passed down from generation to generation? Why have bodybuilders done certain things for decades, like clockwork? Is it just because of the culture? Is it because the big rip bodybuilder before said it, so therefore I'm going to do it no matter what? And I used to think that's why. Later on, I realized that's not why. Bodybuilding is just as competitive as any other sport, and they want the competitive advantage. And when you get to know bodybuilders, what actually happens when you meet these people is they're actually the most willing to experiment. They're so willing to their detriment, they're willing to experiment. The problem, of course, is when they break it down and they explain why it works, and it's totally wrong. However, there is a reason why they do it, and because it actually does work for some people for different reasons. We'll talk about the first one. Bodybuilders have been promoting or touting the value of eating small meals throughout the day for decades. Yeah. Bodybuilders will say, look, eat 5 small meals a day or 6 small meals a day. And then what they'll say is this stokes your metabolism.
Ramps up your metabolism.
Thermogenic effect.
Fire.
There's a thermogenic effect that you if you eat protein all day long, you'll build more muscle than if you eat it less frequently. This is what they would say. Now, that's not true. It doesn't stoke fat burning because you eat small meals. The thermogenic effect is basically connected to the size of the meal. So 3 large meals, 3 large thermic effects.
It's minimal.
6 meals that are small, 6 small thermic effects. It all comes out to the same. And then protein-wise, if you eat protein every 5 hours or so, there really is no additional benefit from eating more frequently. And even then, the benefit's kind of small. So they were wrong on that, yet small meals does benefit quite a bit of people, and it helps especially with fat loss, and here's why. You've probably heard us talk on the podcast, well, definitely if you've listened for more than 5 episodes, on the value of eating a high-protein diet. High protein, first of all, does burn more body fat when calories are controlled. It contributes to more muscle. When you're in a calorie deficit, it preserves more muscle, and it's appetite suppressing. It does lower your appetite, reduce cravings. If you're trying to eat the upper limits of the protein intake that will give you these benefits, it's kind of hard to do.
It's hard to do in one
in 2 or 3 meals.
Yes.
Typically, you need 4 or 5. I mean, like if I took a regular average female and told her to eat 150 grams of protein a day, that's 50 grams of protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's a lot of protein.
Yeah.
It's easier for her to do 25 or 30 in smaller meals throughout the day.
I'll sell it even more, since this was when I remember this was one of the myths that you were debunking when we started the podcast,
That's right.
and I was in the thick of carrying my meals around.
Yeah.
And so I remember having to defend this. Like, okay, here you guys on this podcast talking about how this doesn't matter. Yeah, here's Adam carrying around his 6-pack bags everywhere he goes. And let me tell you, the reason why that was because, one, to the point about protein, two, portion control. When you're dieting, man, there's no way around feeling hungry. If you're in a deficit, especially consistently, you're going to be hungry. And there was something about knowing that, every 2 hours, I just knew I had
psychological benefit.
Yes. Yeah. I knew that, like, I'm hungry right now. That's okay. In 45 more minutes, I'm going to eat again. You know what I'm saying? And then I'd eat. And then before I know it, about an hour, I'd be hungry. It's okay. In 1 hour, I'll be eating again. Like, so there's that psychological benefit and the fact that it's easier to control portion size that way. I think I found that very beneficial to a lot of my clients that you'd be surprised, what a 500 calorie meal looks like. And most people, American portion sizes are so distorted.
They're insane.
And so I felt that it taught my clients really good portion control and made them realize how much they were underestimating what they were eating in the past. So I loved it for portion control. I loved it for hitting protein intake. I loved it for the psychological benefit of I know I'm going to get another meal real soon here. I know I'm going to get another meal real soon here. And so even though it didn't science the way that we explained it back in the day as bros with the thermogenic effect and stoking the fire and all these things, it did have massive benefits that I found worked well, not only personally, but with a lot of my clients.
Now, there's one more reason I'll add. If you are convinced of this and you are making yourself, and you're getting 5 meals a day, you're probably prepping your food.
Yes, that too.
You're not going out to buy food 5 times a day. If you're eating 5 meals a day,
you have to be prepped.
You're prepping your meals. And so you have prepping, you're hitting your protein targets, the psychological effect of, I get to eat every couple hours. For a lot of people, this is quite effective. Now, when you add this to a bodybuilder who's eating 200 plus grams of protein a day, who's in these calorie deficits, definitely going to prep anyway because they're bodybuilders. Now it makes a lot of sense. So this is why it works for a lot of people, but it's not for the reasons that they said. The next one is the value of the post-workout shake. Now they're going to say what they've said in the past, and supplement companies took this and ran with it.
Anabolic window.
Yeah, as they're like post-workout, you have this anabolic window where you activate these receptors, you become more insulin sensitive, and you need to feed yourself right away so that the muscles get filled back up with glycogen. Those amino acids get in there and you recover and build faster. In fact, they would sell this so hard that they would say your workout's almost wasted if you don't take a shake afterwards. Now, there's some truth to what they're saying, but at the end of the day, does it make a difference? No, it really doesn't make a difference. It makes a difference for high-performing athletes who are about to perform shortly after, especially if they have multiple workouts in a day. This helps the body replenish glycogen quicker, but most people don't work out. If they work out at all, it's once a day. It's not 2 or 3 times a day. So that science doesn't add up, but here's why this tends to help with people. When they do this, they get extra protein. It's not lunch, it's not breakfast, it's not dinner. It's an extra 30 grams or 40 grams of protein a day. They get that higher protein intake, which we know in the data contributes to muscle, helps with muscle preservation in a calorie deficit, and it has an appetite suppressing effect to an extent. So the post-workout shake for a lot of people does work, but again, not for the reasons that they say.
I found that post-hard workout, I could slam a 40 gram, maybe 50 gram protein shake real quick. By the time I drove to my house and showered from the workout, I was ready to eat another meal again. And for chasing macros, which is what I found myself doing a lot when I was trying to hit my protein intake, it became huge with trying to hit the protein intake that I need to. So I found this very beneficial for clients that struggle with hitting protein intake, which is 90% of your clients have a hard time. So the post workout immediate shake benefited them for those reasons, not because they hit some sort of magical window that helped them build more muscle. It's that they became they ritualized, okay, because we know the benefit, we know what the research says about habit stacking.
That's right.
That's
they ritualized working out with getting that extra 40 grams of protein. And since 90% of the population don't hit the optimal amount of protein, ritualizing that workout with a protein shake added an extra 40 grams to their day, which benefited everybody.
Right. So like all my clients that I would have them do this when I thought the benefit was for the wrong reasons, early trainer me, right? They all got benefits. Why? Because they got extra protein. It wasn't anything magical about that post workout period. Next up is the drinking the gallon of water all day long. And we used to make fun of bodybuilders. They'd walk around with a big jug of water
big old jug
all day long, and they'd say it's to flush out their system. It helps absorb protein. They need it to, flush out their kidneys is what they would say. The truth is you don't need this much water. That being said, a gallon of water does seem to help people with appetite suppression. Water, you can have what you need, and then there's optimal, and optimal water is more than what most people drink. So yes, if you drink based off of thirst, you're not going to drink too little water. You're not going to have dehydration. That's what people say. You're going to be dehydrated. You're not going to be dehydrated. If you drink water when you're thirsty, you're not going to get dehydrated. However, what you need versus what's optimal is often different. And drinking more water, what I found with my clients is that typically ate less, they drank less other calories, and they tend to feel a lot better. In particular, their mobility. This is what I noticed with a lot of my clients.
Oh yeah, and cognitively, like you get that brain fog, and then realize like if I'm drinking water, I could actually think more clearly. I have a little bit more energy. And really, it's just like a good reminder that if you're not consciously thinking about your day where I need to like pursue water, you can get way behind. And so to just have that as kind of like this, it follows you around and constant reminder to drink water.
I mean, I was so pro this that I had my 60-year-old lady, engineer, skinny dude. I had them all carrying jugs of water around. And the reason why I did was because what I found was that every client that said they were drinking a lot of water wasn't drinking nearly enough water. And all my clients that thought they were drinking about a gallon of water weren't even close to
quarter
drinking
gallon
that.
was the most.
And so and it was always just an exercise for me. I didn't make my clients do this indefinitely. It was, hey, this was part of the teaching process. When they first hired me, it would be something that, hey, I just want to do this for the next month so we can kind of get an idea of where you're at.
See what the difference
is.
And
what it did was it brought awareness to them. It brought awareness to how little they drank and how inconsistent they were with that, and how much they drank other fluids that were not so ideal for them. So what I found was it replaced the sodas, the juices, all the other things, and it gave them water instead, and it made them aware of how little and how much more they should be drinking this. And then there was also the side benefit of they had to pee a lot. And so I found they would be moving more often.
By the way, we track this with body bugs.
Burn more calories that way in a sense.
They were more active.
An extra 500 steps a day.
I mean, listen, anything that when you're dieting with people and to suppress a little bit of the appetite is beneficial. To keep them active and moving is beneficial. To keep their mouth busy, whether it's chewing gum or drinking water, is beneficial. And so even though, again, we did the bodybuilders or the bros did not explain the science behind this very well, had tremendous value, and I figured that out as a advanced or a trainer that had been training for a long time, and became a staple with all my clients.
Totally. Today's program giveaway is MAPS Aesthetic. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video. The first 24 hours that we drop it, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comments section. Also, 2 days left for the sale on MAPS 15 Minutes. Go check it out. Go to maps15minutes.com. Use the code MUSCLE50 for the discount. Back to the show. Next up is fasted cardio. So what the bros will say is if you wake up in the morning and do cardio before you eat, your glycogen is depleted and you're just going to burn body fat. And then you can see the science. There is more fat oxidation when you do cardio in a fasted state. Now, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The calorie deficit matters. Whether you do cardio fasted or cardio fed, whether you're oxidizing fat while you're doing cardio or not, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, calories being equal, same fat loss. Makes no difference. Except when people did fasted cardio, they did get leaner. What's going on here?
It's a discipline.
It was extra activity.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
You're disciplining yourself to get up that extra hour early to do this activity, then sets yourself up for success, better success throughout the day.
Well, did you see the conversation I was having with Mike Dolce about this?
No.
Yeah, so I guess there's a clip of us and you're talking about this exact point, and we're talking about that it's a splitting hair difference. It's not a big deal. And he makes the argument that there are a lot of the research on that is flawed, and there is a slight difference in benefit still to doing it. So there is some science to prove that fasted cardio. Now, the rebuttal I had to that is like it's still splitting hair difference.
It's so splitting hairs.
Yeah, it is positive. It makes
sense to the bodybuilder who's trying to go from 3% to 2.5% body fat.
The general pop, the biggest benefits. So I just want to make sure I make that clear. So yes, I'm aware of the research that supports it and says that it is, but you're talking about, if you're making that as an argument, you're splitting hair difference on how much more beneficial it is. But when you add the other benefits to it, to me, then it makes a lot of sense, because from a habit perspective, which is what I found with this, is why I was a huge fan of fasted cardio. And it was because I didn't get up at 6 o'clock in the morning ever, unless I was doing fasted cardio. I mean, my alarm is set at 7 or 7:15, depending on what I have going on that day, and I never get up at 6 in the morning. But when I was prepping for a show, and it was that time in my phase of leaning out, and I was starting fasted cardio, I would get up at 6 o'clock, and just simply getting up in the morning and starting the morning with an hour of activity that I normally would be resting has tremendous benefit.
That's right.
Not to mention how I also found I would be more active throughout the day. So this is hard to measure in a study.
This is behavior based.
That's right. So what I found was if I just got up and mosey, like I do right now, get up, alarm goes off at 7, like I slowly make it over to the coffee and drink it. And I move slow. And then it's not even until probably like noon here do I feel like we go for our walk and like, okay, now caffeine's in me. Now, like I just move at a different pace. When I would get up and start the day and break a little bit of a sweat doing like a fasted cardio, the rest of the day I'm already moving.
It sets the stage.
Yes.
It does set the stage. And if something's going to get in the way of any kind of structured workout, cardio, strength training, whatever, it tends to not happen first thing in the morning. Now, if I leave this for later in the day, especially after work, things get in the way. You know, I'm a little later at work. I got some stuff going. I got to put out some fires. I got to go pick up the kids. If I wake up early to do cardio and I've decided that's what I'm going to do, I'll almost never miss it. So long as I wake up, I'm not going to miss it.
It's uninterrupted, yeah.
And then again, it's extra activity. When people did fasted cardio versus cardio later in the day, now all things being equal, it doesn't really make a difference, but it typically doesn't work out that way in the real world. The fasted cardio turned out to be extra activity. So this is why it works. Now, if you need to get better sleep, more important, right? So don't wake up, don't get crappy sleep so you can do fasted cardio. It's not a good trade.
Yeah.
But if you get good sleep, you go to bed early, and you're doing fasted cardio, behavior-wise, activity-wise, it tends to be beneficial. Next up, the bros love what some people will label as junk volume or finisher sets. So when you watch a bodybuilder work out, what they'll tend to do is they'll tend to do like 1 or 2 like big gross motor movement, effective exercises. Then they'll do like 3 other exercises, and the deeper they get in the workout, the more these exercises become kind of isolation, easy exercises,
Pumping,
pump blood.
yeah.
And they'll say, I'm trying to squeeze as much blood into the muscle. Now, here's why that can be beneficial. Again, now we're not talking about like, don't replace your big gross motor movement exercises. These can't replace that. But here's why this is beneficial for a lot of people. It adds extra volume and very little stress.
Yeah.
And now, when it comes to volume, there is a sweet spot of where you're going to get like 85 to 90% of the results. But to get the extra 5, 10% is extra volume. But what happens here is you're trading recovery for volume. Now you're playing this dancing game. How do I squeeze out an extra 5 or 10% out of my workouts, but don't compromise my recovery so much that it screws everything over? Well, I know how. While I'm doing my pecs today, I did the big exercises. I'm going to go do a single arm cable squeeze or sit sideways on this machine and squeeze this upper part of my chest or whatever. It gives you the extra volume and it doesn't cause much damage at all. And so you can squeeze out that extra 5 or 10% of results.
In other words, if they were in the gym for the same amount of time and they did the same amount of exercises, but they switched the exercises out from these finisher type exercises and replaced them with barbell bench press, deadlifts, squatting, they'd be overtrained.
They'd be burnt.
And so if you're going to spend this much time in the gym, let's say you're the type of person who likes to train 5-7 days a week, an hour to 2 hours in the gym, this is where this type of training has tremendous benefit.
That's right.
Because what it does is it manages the intensity.
Totally.
It does not overtrain you the same way that it would be if you were doing all these barbell lifts. And so here's another example of we didn't explain it the best way, but somebody who's doing that high of volume of training needs to have exercises that don't do as much damage,
Totally.
Or else you will absolutely overtrain the body.
Totally. All right, next up is supplements. Lots of supplements. Now, most supplements actually have very little value when it comes to building muscle and burning body fat. Some have some value, but not a lot. But yet bodybuilders just take a ton. Now, part of that is because bodybuilders take everything. They'll do anything that they think is going to work. But here's what we find in the data. When people structure their supplements, it tends to contribute to better behaviors with diet and exercise. And especially if the supplements are scheduled throughout the day, it tends to remind them that they're on this disciplined path of fitness. So it's like I got my AM supplements, my afternoon supplements, my evening supplements. My evening supplements are for sleep. You know what tends to happen if I have supplements for sleep? Tend to go to bed on time, tend to think about it. My afternoon ones, it's hard to eat a garbage meal after I took this supplement that it cost me $90 this month. So I'm going to take that. So it tends to contribute to behaviors that really are what move
immovable,
the needle.
routine that they build and establish.
That's
and
right.
Yeah, supplements are definitely a part of that.
I actually think a large portion of the success that people report from supplements is due to these reasons.
Totally.
We already see, we know what the research says about how much it actually moves the needles in the pursuit of building muscle or burning body fat. But I know you guys remember this, especially it's a little bit different now in my life because everybody sends shit for free to me. So I have it all at my disposal.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid and I went and spent half of my paycheck, $150, on supplements.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're not missing workouts.
I'm not missing my workout. I'm not missing my diet. I'm not going to be wasting this. It really kept me on track because, especially when I got a new supplement that I was trying, because I was like, I got to see if this works, and I spent $150. I better not just waste it by.
This is the male version. Women would go get a trainer.
That's a way better way.
I mean, I think even for switch it over to fat loss supplements for women or like sleep supplements, like you're saying. I think it's just a placebo effect for both sexes that if you are spending this money on this thing, you're just more aware of it.
Yep.
And because you're more aware of it, it's going to create better habits. For that reason, and this is why still to this day when I talk about supplements, people say, listen, if you have it in your budget, I'm all for it. I mean, spend the money on
hurt you, go for it.
because even if it's only a 1 or 5% help towards the goal, what it does behaviorally for a lot of people, we know how beneficial that is.
Right.
So, and I think that actually is probably a large portion of the results that come from it.
That's right. Now, here's another one. And this one, I don't recommend even labeling it this, but I can see why there's some value with this. So these are the cheat meals or cheat days that they would have. Now, this is a psychological break. It's a break, and I don't mean it in a negative sense. I mean, it gives them a break on the ultra discipline that they're on throughout the week and allows them to get back into the routine. So instead of eating super perfect all the time, Saturday I have a cheat meal and I'm looking forward to that. And they move towards that and they stay consistent because they know they're looking forward to that. Is there some physiological benefit? There is a benefit to injecting higher calorie meals into your diet, especially if you're in a calorie deficit. It seems to help with performance. It seems to help with muscle preservation and some fat loss. Now, here's where I don't like it. This can definitely turn into a restrict binge behavior, where it's like I restrict all the time, and then Saturday comes along or whatever, and then I just eat until I make myself sick.
So I wanted to put this point in here because I wanted to talk about this because what I find, and you kind of touched on it right there, and I think this is the main takeaway from this. It's less about the cheat day or cheat meal, and it's more about the benefits of undulating your calories. Yeah. We know what the research says about that and the benefits of doing that. And one of the things that people tend to do when they get on diets is they have a strict protocol and they follow it just consistently all the time. And it's one of the ways that they have success is just like, this is what I eat every single day. And I think there's a lot of value in interrupting that, both psychologically and physiologically. So I think that part is the part of the quote unquote cheat day that has value. I don't like labeling it a cheat day.
Because it's your diet. It's just part of your diet.
I would teach clients, or I would insert these as like just high calorie days. I'd say, hey, Friday we're gonna have a high calorie day. Add that extra meal, or do that. Those. You
could do that without the crazy highly processed foods.
Right.
That's where it gets crazy.
And that's why I don't like where I think the bro science or the bodybuilding community went wrong with it is labeling it a cheating, because it just the connotation that comes with that is not healthy and good. You're better off just having some interruptions in any diet with a high calorie day. One high calorie day is not going to put pounds of body fat on you.
No, if anything, it'll give you energy and strength for your workout.
Exactly. And so I think there's lots of benefit to anybody who is dieting to briefly interrupting that every other week or every week with this meals in a day where you have a high calorie day to interrupt that both psychologically and physiologically.
That's right. And last, flexing. Bodybuilders will flex muscles all the time. Now, here's the value of it. Now, here's what they'll say. They'll say that flexing sharpens the muscles and creates more definition or a harder look. Here's why that's probably true. I don't think it's necessarily, unless they're flexing really hard, I don't think there's really a physiological benefit necessarily, aside from the fact that no athlete on earth can activate a muscle like a bodybuilder. No athlete on earth can activate their right lat or their left rhomboid or their right rear delt or their quad or their inner thigh or the outer glute like a bodybuilder. And part of this is because they flex. They sit in the mirror and they flex. In fact,
I think they've refined that neural network. I
Totally.
think that's and we talk so much about how often have we talked about the benefits of the CNS, and you are practicing that communication between the brain and that muscle. You can't tell me that's not beneficial.
and tell me the carryover, right? When you go do an exercise, this is a back exercise. And I
Part
can
of the muscle
feel it
recruitment process.
in my back, and I can feel this in my chest versus my shoulders or my glutes versus my quads. That has to do with learning how to connect to these muscles. Because look, you take the average person who works out, who doesn't flex, they probably can't even do a lat spread. Yeah. You tell them to activate their lats without using a machine or weights, and they can't do it. Bodybuilders, they can activate any. You could point to a muscle, not even touch it, and they'll be able to activate it. And it's from flexing.
Well, when you take away the mirror, it's just isometric poses. Yep. And it's very valuable.
I mean, all resistance training is flexion of the muscles with some sort of resistance. Yeah. That's all it is. So, I mean, I used to use that line and explain it to clients. It's like, listen, that's all we're doing is flexing the muscles with some sort of resistance, whether it be bands, weights, isometric, whatever. But that's what you're doing. And so the foundation of that is learning to flex that muscle. And if you can't do that very well, we know that too. Like you will not get as much of an exercise than the person who can actually flex that muscle. Yep. You take two people doing the same exact exercise, all things equal. One of them knows how to flex that muscle. One of them doesn't know how to flex that muscle.
You'll get better results.
You'll get better results that way.
Yeah, I remember I had a client once. They weren't a bodybuilder, but they had issues with scapular winging, which is not a super common issue. But if you train people for 5 years, you'll run into it. And I taught them how to do a front lat spread because it taught them how to get the scapula to flatten out and to spread out. So we literally sat in front of the mirror and practiced this compulsory bodybuilding pose, but it helped with controlling their scapula when we were doing certain exercise so they didn't get that winging, which was pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, are you guys are familiar with the the Mind Pump Butcher Box?
Yeah, our box that we have on the website.
It's amazing. So if people aren't familiar, you could go to Butcher Box.
It's all of our favorite stuff they put in there.
We curated it. This is the best cuts that we like the most. Yeah. So if you go to Butcher Box and you go to the Mind Pump one, you'll see our box. It's got ribeyes, it's got bone-in chicken thighs, steak tips, baby back ribs, the gluten-free chicken nuggets, and the flat iron steaks. That's what we have all the time.
Yeah.
And ours. I like the gluten-free chicken nuggets, by the way.
I eat so many of those.
The kids still eat them a lot?
I fight my youngest all the time.
It's a staple in our house.
Oh, bro, that's my family members. Everybody's like,
it's a bit of a cheat. I feel like because it's such an easy go-to for Katrina and I for Max. Like all else fails, that's you
just throw them in there.
Yeah, it take 12 minutes in the oven to heat them up like that.
I love it.
But I've become addicted to them because they taste so good. Yeah. For comparison, if you've never done it, you have to eat a McDonald's chicken nugget and then eat that back to back. I tell you what, it'll ruin ever eating a chicken McNugget from somewhere else after that because it tastes like a total different thing.
Oh, totally. I got to tell you guys so I got some comments. Remember what I said on a previous podcast? I'm going to try and stop cursing.
Yes.
And I challenge you guys.
Oh, I forgot to ask I never saw what happened to the comment section.
So people are now like paying attention. Like if I said a bad word or whatever, and everybody's like, why don't they, contribute or do the swear jar? You guys don't want to do it. That's fine. Because that was my idea was.
Oh, they're trying to peer pressure us.
Yeah, which is worse. I mean, listen, audience, let me tell you
the opposite.
If you listen to our show, the last way you'll get Adam, Justin, or Doug, especially Adam or Justin, do anything is by pressuring them. They'll go in the opposite direction. Yeah. I'm very similar. But anyway, I have a new way of doing this. This is what I'm gonna do.
What?
So and I'm gonna say it on air. If you guys want to edit this out, that's fine. But if I get caught saying a bad word ever on the podcast, comment underneath on YouTube, do a timestamp on it, and we'll give you whatever program you want for free. I'll send it to you.
Well,
okay, take it out your for everybody or for the first person?
For the first person.
First person.
First person that calls it out gets a free. Thanks, Doug. Look, Doug's over there.
Yeah.
So if you hear me say a bad word, you just timestamp it. You're the first person in there. I'll send you a free program. Okay. We'll have someone.
That's fun.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fun.
All right.
Have you? I'm trying to think since you brought
qualifies that up. Because some people have
trying to get programs
distorted perception of like.
It's got to be a real curse word, guys.
Yeah,
it can't be like
damn or something. Come on, guy.
Yeah. It's got to be one you get in trouble with, like your mom would put soap in your mouth over.
Oh, I would have gotten soap with that word.
With damn?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Doug was Leave It to Beaver, dude.
I mean, I had a really strict upbringing too, but damn wasn't one of them. Damn.
What about another language like Scheißen?
What does that mean?
Shit.
In what, German?
Yeah, German.
No, I don't think that counts. It has to be in English. So you guys know.
I'm going to press you on it.
since you said that, which was like a week ago or what like that, I'm trying to think. Have you caught yourself, or have you noticed?
I think I have. I'm pretty sure I have. So this is a contest.
I know you've been actively trying to not
really trying. You know what's funny?
You're really bad off air. But
I know, and I catch myself. I told my my wife.
Gee, shoot.
Yeah. So my wife is in on it with me, right? So I'm like, let's try this together, and she's worse now. Dude, she's like a sailor.
Because you're aware of it.
Because she's just, left and right in front of the kid. I'm like, what's going on, babe?
Wow.
She's like, you shouldn't have told me. Now I'm even worse. Anyway,
I'm really good with Max, but when I'm with the boys, which is what I feel like I am in this situation.
It's the only time.
I get it that we have all kinds of other people listening, but that's not how this is. The show is built on getting to peer in on a conversation as if you weren't in the room with us.
Yeah, if I was like in the car with you on the way to school with your kids, like, I'm not gonna.
No, I'm not that. I'm definitely not that guy for sure.
I feel like,
I understand. Like, if you want to put yourself there.
Yeah, but
this is different. We're in a conversation.
Half of the dynamic of this.
You guys are trying to sell me.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm all for
I'm just justifying it myself.
Half of the dynamic of this was always like this. You're getting to peer into a real conversation with me and my buddies.
Well, I'm trying to do this
unfiltered.
I'm trying to do this off air too, though. Yeah. This isn't just for the show.
That's what I mean. I think it's a good thing that you're trying to do. Yeah, that you're trying to go that route, especially if you think you do it quite a bit.
Next level will be, I let you guys punch me in the arm if I say that. I'm not going to do that yet because you guys are going to wail on me. I know Justin will come out of nowhere and just blast me or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I looked up. Are you guys familiar with Bill Pearl? He was one of the strongest bodybuilders in the '60s. I want to say. Do you guys know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay, you know who he was.
You know who he is. You don't know who he is?
I think so. I know the name. I'm just trying to think of picture him.
So he was like Arnold was like a huge fan of Bill Pearl, and he was known back then for being one of the strongest bodybuilders ever. And this was in the '60s. Did they use steroids back then? Yes and no. Some did, some didn't. But the amount of steroids they used back then,
so minimal,
wouldn't even be. There he is, right there. I mean, you can see just the physique that he built, and that's like early '60s, I want to say.
I mean, he was the Arnold before Arnold, natural. Right? I mean, he was the first big guy like that.
Bro, the genetics
looks achievable.
Oh, it's insane. And again, if you want to talk about steroids, they didn't even use the steroids that they used back then wouldn't even qualify as TRT today, just so people understand. Yeah. Like 5 milligrams of D-ball was what they were taking a day to if they did take anything at all. But I have some of his lifts, which is pretty insane. He benched 450, and I believe this was in 1962, which was insane.
Legit.
460. He did a 605-pound squat, so you do reps with 6'5", and a 310-pound seated shoulder press behind the neck.
Wow.
Insane.
He's not doing finisher exercises.
No, dude, no. You want to know what his workout looked like?
Yeah, tell me what his workout looked like.
Here's what his split looked like. It's crazy.
He had a body part split.
He did a split, but he was the first bodybuilder, one of the first bodybuilders because back then, prior to the 60s, every bodybuilder worked out full body. It was always full body, 3 days a week, 4 days or whatever. Yeah. He was the first one to combine that with like a split. So what he would do on Monday would be full body, then Tuesday chest and back, then Wednesday full body, then Thursday legs and shoulders, then Friday full body, then Saturday arms. And we'd rest on Sunday.
That's a lot.
Isn't that insane? He would do 18 to 20 sets
per muscle,
per body part in each of those workouts. That's crazy.
In each workout?
In each workout.
Nuts, oh my God, that's a lot of volume.
Yeah.
That's a lot of volume.
It's crazy. When you get people with those kinds of genetics, they just ramp up, and for whatever reason,
that's probably,
their bodies can handle.
To that point, Sal, that's probably one of the more challenging things for us to talk about is that there's such a wide range of what people can handle. And most of the good information, and I'm saying good information that's even out there, came from these bodybuilders or people that were already anomalies.
Yeah.
It just didn't work with your clients.
No. I don't know very many. That would crush me.
None of my clients.
I mean, just so the audience knew. I mean, this is how I knew before we all met, and you sent me anabolic over. How I knew how on point it was because I just really figured that out with my clients. Like, this is it. Like, just handful of movements, 2-3 days a week.
Yep.
And they
99% of people will do best.
They're gonna do. And which, when you look at it, and you remember when we used to, the critiques we saw always get, this is not enough. We get people that thought it was enough. And then, I mean, this this whole thing, this whole movement was built off of the results that we gave people from MAPS Anabolic. It blew people's minds.
Yep.
It blew their minds on the results. And frankly, the fitness fanatics were just doing way too much.
They were, and the genetics of some of these people, like Serge Nubret, he was in the Pumping Iron series. He was the French black bodybuilder with everybody says like the best aesthetics of all time. He was known for doing up to 70 sets per body part in training. Now, was that excessive? Probably, but the fact that he recovered and he looked the way he did from that, it just points to how insanely different genetics can be at that level.
Yeah.
70 sets
to be able
is
to
just
tolerate that.
it's crazy.
Amazing.
You guys want to hear a crazy story that I just read? It's one of the craziest stories I've ever read.
Really?
And it's true. I don't know when this happened, but I read it today and it was just insane. So in rural Mexico, there was a woman, Inez Ramirez Perez. She was in labor, 12 hours of labor with no access to medical care, no means of transport, and she had lost a previous child to a complicated delivery. So she's in this remote area trying to give birth. She was in a one-room shack in Oaxaca's mountains, no electricity, running water, basic sanitation. She's a 40-year-old mother. She had 6 kids already. She's trying to give birth. The closest clinic was 50 miles away. So you know what she did? Because she was having this, baby wasn't coming out. She had 3 glasses of strong liquor. She took a 6-inch kitchen knife and she gave herself a C-section.
Oh my God, bro.
And she relied on her knowledge from butchering livestock.
Shut your face.
So she made 3 vertical cuts.
She consciously was doing this.
On her own.
On her own.
She made 3 vertical cuts totaling 17 centimeters. And she squatted down. And this actually would get the baby to kind of move in a position that was safer. And she used a faint light, lasted over an hour, and she was able to get the baby out.
No.
She survived?
How did she not
survived
bleed out? Yeah.
Hours later, so her 6-year-old son went to look for help.
6-year-old son?
6-year-old son went to go find help.
Wow.
Hours later, village health assistant Leon Cruz arrived, found the mother and baby alive with her conscious, attending to the child.
Oh my God.
And so that he used a simple needle and cotton thread, stitched up her extensive wound. After an arduous 8-hour trip to the nearest hospital, they were astonished to find no infection, minimal blood loss, and a fully intact uterus.
Wow.
This was documented in the international.
Looking out for her.
And this is documented in International Journal of Gynecology and
That's amazing.
What year? What year?
I don't know when this happened. We should find out. But could you imagine? Like,
how do you not pass out? Like, that's cool.
It's a miracle. This is miraculous. Yeah. I mean, she's got 6 kids. Like, just think of the love you have for this child and for your other children, where you're like, I'm going to do this. I have to do this to survive. And the fact that she didn't hurt herself or the baby during this process.
It happened in 2000.
In the year 2000.
Year 2000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was reading it, getting emotional, just thinking about this poor woman by herself with no electricity, just figuring it out.
Soldier.
Talk about the brilliance for her to be able to know how to even where to start to do that.
I mean, I think it's miraculous. And now here's the other side of it. That kid can never act up. My mom brought up. She brings up when she delivered me. She had a hospital.
You got no equity at all.
This kid is never
nothing.
You know what I did to some kid to bring you to this world, buddy?
Yeah.
You better not.
That's in 2000. So the kid's 20-something years old. It'll be interesting to see where the kid's at.
That kid better be a millionaire. Just
something. That kid better be doing something special
somewhere.
Yeah, I would love to know.
That's true. He better be something.
You got to do something, dude.
He's 25, 26 years old now. I'd love to know what he is, or is it boy, girl?
I didn't say.
Be interesting to know about the kid. I would love to hear about the kid now.
God, stories like that, man. When you read stuff like that, it's just
that's intense.
You feel like a wuss.
Oh, huge on yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if I for sure couldn't do that. I found that to be so incredible.
No,
anyway.
Did you guys see the story on the golfer who overdosed on creatine?
That's so silly.
Yeah,
that's so silly.
I saw Justin brought it up the other. Well, he didn't bring it up on the show, but he brought it up in his notes. He didn't talk about it.
He blamed taking too much creatine on his loss.
I've never overdosed on creatine before, but I think I did in the moment because I didn't really drink any water after that. I basically just inhaled like a snowball. And so I started getting like super shaky, and I've never felt like this before, and I literally felt like I had tremors. And I 4-putted 1, and then on 2 I like was freaking out and didn't know what to do, and I like hit it so far out of bounds, and then like luckily my caddy stepped in and like made me chug a whole water.
I
Basically,
didn't, I
that's
didn't
how it works.
listen to it,
Overdose.
but I got a bunch of text messages from my friends that, of course, they were like, "Is this possible?"
No.
Like, no.
You know what happens when you have too much creatine? Diarrhea.
Yeah, diarrhea.
That's what happens. What happened was he was
Upset
dehydrated.
Well, yeah. What happened? He
it.
choked. He choked in his game.
He psychologically messed with himself.
Yes, that's 100. The fat. I'm sure he's getting roasted by it too, because most people that know about creatine are going like, "Yeah, no, that doesn't. That doesn't."
No,
Doesn't happen
he
like
was
that,
saying he was shaky and stuff, probably from dehydration.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't get
Or
diarrhea.
nerves because
Nerves,
you're in a pro
dehydration.
golf tournament. I mean, that would probably be also possible.
You know, when too, like, I don't know, when you take a sip of something and it's like a clump and it's like, you know, and you're expecting it to be like liquid.
Yeah.
And it kind of throws you off in your rhythms a little bit. Like, I've had that happen before. Like, and it kind of throws you off a bit, but it's not like.
It's because you eat so fast.
I mean, even if
I do eat
okay,
fast.
even if all that was like true, that something like that happened, do you bring that up?
I know. Blames it on the creatine.
Yeah, what do you do?
Like you just take it on the chin. You're like,
Yeah.
man, I got beat today.
Like, oh, man.
I might tell my caddy.
I was all in my head.
Yeah, I might tell my caddy or my wife or someone close to me, like,
think it
oh
was the
man, I
creatine,
had
bro.
that creatine and it was sitting in my stomach and it gave me this, but I am not in an interview going like blaming it on creatine.
Meanwhile, half these pro leagues are like sponsored by Taco Bell. They'll mess it way worse than too much creatine.
Or at least blame it on some like better drugs.
You know,
or
we were talking
something.
about genetics earlier, about bodybuilding genetics. I just find it so fascinating that the pro athletes that can eat the way they eat, and
Look the way they do.
yeah, some of them.
Who's that football player? I brought him up before.
Metcalf, DJ Metcalf.
He's candy.
The candy.
He's candy all day long.
So you know that? Okay, so
all day.
Dude,
this is who popularized
Russian-
this sugar diet now. So
Oh my God.
that his thing was such a phenomenon. Like, I don't know how many years ago that interview went live. Maybe we can look up DJ Metcalf interview about sugar or candy. It was a couple of years ago. So it's been this like everyone controversial. Like, no way you really. He literally like eats a couple bags of candy a day. Like that's his diet, and he's like,
Sounds so
wait, I mean, if
horrible.
you haven't seen him, you look at him. He's like a freak of nature.
Yeah.
And supposedly it's been recorded, documented, and proved that is exactly how he eats. Which, remember, just recently, our boy over Mark Bell was doing the sugar diet, and now there's doctors coming out talking about the benefits of the sugar diet.
I never really looked into that, but I was
Don't
like,
do it.
yeah, because I was like curious, like, why would you promote this?
Here's what I know. It doesn't even. I don't even care what the science says of the potential benefits of it. I know the addictive properties of the sugar and stuff like that, and what a trap that is.
I have never in my life ever worked with a client where we dramatically increased their sugar and it made things better. That's never happened.
Well, you have to eliminate everything else. You know, it's like
he eats one meal a day and 3 bags of candy a day.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
isn't that wild? It's the real. Look at there's
especially if you're not like crazy cardiovascular.
Show a
demand.
picture of him, Doug.
Yeah, he's like ripped.
Oh, I said DJ, not DK.
I've told you guys.
DK Metcalf. Sorry.
I've told you guys. I had a guy that worked for me. He was
Look at that picture of him.
yeah, I know. He looks
Yeah,
crazy.
he's
I had a porter that worked for me, and he had the gnarliest looking arms. I'll never forget, like huge triceps, just looked jacked all the time. And I was interested. I was like, what does this guy do? And I asked him, I'm like, what do you do what do you eat? I mean, his workout was kind of normal, so it was nothing special there. I'm like, well, what do you eat all day long? And I remember he told me his diet, and I believed him because he didn't make much money. In fact, I know he didn't make much money because he was a porter. I know how much he made. And so he says, I can't afford much, but it was a breakfast sandwich in the morning. He'd have like a Pop-Tart or something for lunch. And then for dinner, he might have like ramen. And this guy was crazy looking.
Justin and I work with a guy like that.
Yeah.
Justin and I work with a trainer like that. He literally skipped breakfast, had Taco Bell for lunch, and I forgot what his dinner was. But it was
McDonald's.
Yeah, it was trash.
Because I would drive him home and I would give him rides all the time, and he'd be like, pull over here to McDonald's. I'm like, McDonald's?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. And he's just shredded.
Yeah,
Just
shredded,
ripped.
strong, jacked, you know.
like,
And he was
all right.
older too. He wasn't even like a young cat. It wasn't like somebody in their
Strong
teens.
dude,
Like,
yeah.
He was in his 30s back then when this was when we were in our 20s, and just
I know.
genetics, dude.
Dude,
Crazy.
There are, listen,
everything working for him.
speaking of which, like I do think, when you look at general obesity, people will say, oh, it's genetics. No, it's not. It's so common and it happens so quickly. There's no like crazy change in our genetics. But when you look at extreme obesity, there is a genetic factor. There is a genetic factor. When you're looking at someone who weighs 500 pounds, 400 pounds, 600 pounds, there is something going on there that is different than the average person.
Of course.
If you offered me $1 billion or to make it even harder.
You couldn't even get to 350 if you tried.
Right. Even worse, if you said everyone you love is going to die if you don't get up to 400 pounds.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
You'd struggle.
It just wouldn't work. My body wouldn't absorb all that food. It just wouldn't happen.
There's like an epigenetic potential, right? Like you could unlock.
Their body just captures energy and stores it. And there's just like the genetic freaks we're talking about who are shredded eating candy. There are those people that for whatever reason, they just, and yes, they may eat a lot of food, but a lot of people can eat that much food and they'd be overweight, they'd be obese, but they wouldn't be 600, 700 pounds. Yeah. I just found the heaviest man in history. You guys want to take a guess?
Like up to date, to current date?
Yes, like the heaviest
The
man.
record was over 1,000 pounds. I know that.
Mills Darden. Look him up.
Was that the one they had to like literally chainsaw the walls and everything to remove him from his house?
I don't know. You know how much when they weighed him, how much he weighed?
What?
1,119 pounds.
That's great. How long did he live till?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe you can find him, Doug. But
what I want to know, somebody that's that overweight, how long they ever? Like, what's the record? Someone who's over 500 pounds lived.
They typically don't make it past their 40s.
Of course not.
Of
course not.
Yeah.
He actually was born in 1799 and died in 1857.
How long? Wait, how
So
old
that's
is
like 58 years.
That's not bad.
Not too bad.
At all. Do you know that sumo wrestlers? Well, Doug, what birthday is it they have a big celebration for sumo wrestlers because a lot of them don't live very long?
I don't know.
Is it 40?
Like they celebrate it's like
there's like an age that's like they make a big deal about it.
Now you got to understand he was also 7'6" tall.
Well, yeah.
7'6"?
Yeah.
What a massive.
What year was
Could you
it?
imagine a 7'6", 1,000-pound human walk?
You know what's crazy?
What year was this? How old?
This is back in the 1800s.
How the hell did he get that many calories?
Yeah, nobody ate that much food back then.
Where was he getting it from? And who was feeding him, dude? That's crazy.
He'd be drinking oil.
That's wild. There he is. Look at the size of the guy. He was a genuine giant. He's standing.
He's standing upright.
Look at next to Andre the Giant next to him.
Oh wow!
They put a picture of Andre the Giant.
7'6", yeah.
Yeah, because that's a big.
He's a legit giant.
That's a big dude. Yeah. You know what's crazy about that, especially
so he probably had giantism, right? He probably grew to that from that disease.
Pituitary maybe
had
tumor?
to. That's what Andre the Giant had. That's like to be that size, you have to have like some sort of disorder, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. What's crazy too is that
he lived that long. That's
today
wild.
it would be insane to see that today. But imagine what that looked like back then when the average man was 160 something pounds.
I know.
I mean, we talk about this all the time.
Crazy.
I mean, unless you go to basketball games, you never see somebody over 7 foot tall. So seeing somebody 7 foot tall is wild.
Well, the tallest man in history was it the early 1900s? I forgot his name. 8'11". 8'11". No one's come close to that.
Doesn't even seem possible.
9 foot tall.
Almost 9 foot tall. Look up his name and let's see how.
He's in the Wax Museum. I've seen him before.
Right there.
Yeah, Robert Wadlow.
Oh yeah,
he's in the Wax Museum.
Yeah.
You guys ever been to the Wax Museum before down in LA?
They have him in London too.
No. Insane, right? That's crazy. Anyway,
I just saw I saw a picture somebody had. There's a famous female swimmer, right? Not swimmer, runner, and they had her next to a male swimmer.
Oh, the leg difference?
Yes,
Yeah.
and she's on the ground like this with her legs up, and her legs are almost the full length of his entire body. yeah, it's wild, dude.
Have you ever seen when they compare like Michael Phelps to like a world? I don't remember who it was. It was like
a runner.
World record marathon runner.
How opposite.
They were both
all torso,
same height, but then
both tall. But Phelps's legs, because at that level genetically, you're gonna have short legs and a long torso, and then of course at the marathon level, you're gonna have long legs. And it was such a wild disparity. Yeah. Michael Phelps must look interesting in person, right? Because how tall is Michael Phelps and how long are his legs, though? He must look interesting.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I saw this picture, I was like, whoa, that looks weird. He's like a canoe.
He's like 6'6". Is that right? Canoe. 6 foot something. 6 foot.
I want to say he's the most winningest Olympian.
Yeah, most decorated.
6'4".
6'4". How long are his legs? What was his inseam? It's like 30.
Yeah,
something like that.
That would be funny if it was like 30.
It was kind of funny. I was just watching this clip, and it was a podcast talking about this one actor, and I'm sure you guys know who it is. Like even like Step Brothers, he was the guy that was like the annoying brother. That was, the kind of the asshole.
And then
Severance,
singing in the Range Rover.
Yeah, he's also does Severance. He's the main guy. So I had no idea he grew up in Santa Cruz.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I looked into it. He actually went to my rival school, Harbor High, and it's just funny that he was like talking about all these like local stories and everything. But I was like, I wonder if I can, somehow convince him to tell Wally to put this freaking video out.
Oh, the one that you made.
Yeah, I'm gonna start hitting him up and be like,
dude, I want to
pull his.
Everybody needs to see that.
Hey, it was a 30-inch inseam.
I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
30-inch,
bro. That's wild for a 6'4"
6'4". Because average guy with a 30-inch inseam is what, 5'10". Is that
yeah?
Right?
Well, I'm a 34, and I'm 6'2.5", 6'3",
and I'm 32. What's yours, Doug?
Like probably 30, I'm guessing. I mean, like if you buy jeans, I get 30, 32s.
That's so weird.
Yeah, that's some shoulders though, Doug.
Yep.
Ha ha ha.
It's youth, Doug.
Yeah, I am young.
Hey,
we save hell of money that way, though.
Swimmers,
Yes.
top level swimmers are the only athletes at that level. So at the top level of athletics, athletes are generally good at they're generally good at just athletics. Like you get an NFL player, he's gonna be better at basketball than most people. You get a top basketball player, he's gonna be better at sprinting.
Yeah, it doesn't translate to these other sports.
Swimmers, terrible at everything else.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
They typically are not good.
I mean, that
at
makes
land
sense
sports.
because that big old long torso only works well in the water.
Imagine Michael Phelps running. He's 6'4" with a 30.
He's slow.
Yeah, dude.
He would be slow. I mean, I would think he could throw a baseball decently.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I bet he could
can
throw
whip a ball.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet he
but
could
you know,
whip
your
a ball.
mind. It would be like, you ever been to one of those baseball games where they have the mascots racing each other?
Yeah.
And they're like really long.
Yeah,
and like,
With the
That's
little
what he'd
tiny
be
legs.
like. Yeah.
Adam, I was going to ask you, a long time ago, you had a very unique way of using Brain FM. Do you remember?
Are you talking about the sex?
Yeah. Have you done it?
I haven't in a long time, but we used to do that all the time. It was such a
What was it? Focus?
Just locked in.
yes. Yes.
Locked in.
Listen, we haven't
He's
talked
not
about.
thinking about the business.
We have not talked about this for a long. So you know that when you play that to do work, right?
Yes.
And this is what it makes you hyper present.
For sure, it makes you focus.
Hyper present.
For
you,
sure.
you don't get distracted. You don't do anything else. Part of intimacy is that, like, one of the I think, in my
This is
opinion,
the best commercial
in my
for Brain FM
opinion,
ever.
Yeah.
a massive marriage hack. Listen, if start this first, put your phones down.
Yeah.
Like I've already
Yeah,
connected.
don't check your phone while having sex. That's
No,
terrible
even
idea.
not even right before that. Like a mistake I've made in the past is it's like a rule that I've had to teach myself. Like when we come into my bedroom, I just put my phone away from me because I've had times where, say, Katrina's showering or like that, it's bedtime or like that, and I'm like messing around my phone. It literally takes me away from her and us.
Of course.
That it ruins the intimacy, and I really have to like get back in the moment to like even be aware of like what's in front of me.
Yeah.
And so I think that it helps you hack into that. Yeah. So if I literally challenge anybody who wants to improve intimacy in their relationship, the Brain FM hack of like focus in the background in the bedroom start with get the phone out, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the first thing is don't get on your social media when you're about to lay in bed with your wife or whatever. But focus while having sex was badass.
A good boom box, like, hey babe.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that sound? What's it doing to me?
I mean, there are a lot of people. I was never this person, but I know a lot of people like to have music on in the background when they have sex. Anyways, there's probably something.
Yeah, what is? I wonder what the percentage.
Look at the research on that. What's
The worst person?
How many people like?
Hey, who would be the worst person in this room? Would pick the worst music for sex?
For sure, Justin, bro. For sure.
Death metal.
Yes. This gets me in the mood.
You guys have great taste. Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. Dude. You got Enya playing and shit.
Hey, that's
dude.
at least romantic
You got
sounding.
country western. I don't think so, dude.
Death metal? I don't know, bro.
I would play death metal to get my my wheelbarrow on, if you will.
Whoa.
What percentage of people like? I bet that's a common question. Like sex or like music on during sex.
47%.
So half the people like that. And is there any
It's
research?
like all R&B, right?
Found that
it's like-
68% of those who do listen to music during sex say it helps reduce performance anxiety. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's what you have.
Yeah. So I have performance anxiety.
Oh no, it helps you focus.
No, do you guys have? I actually have a playlist. So you have one like specifically for
Yeah.
just in case. Yeah.
just in case.
Dude, it's like it's almost like stripper music. I mean, to be honest, it's like a lot of like
Sade.
You do Sade?
Yeah, a lot of Sade type stuff. That's
Really?
Like, yeah. Have you not,
like
remember that
Def
type of
Leppard.
music?
I do. I don't play any music.
That's total like love making music.
No,
for
not
sure.
me. I like to listen to the sounds that we're making, not the sounds of music.
Heavy on the bass.
Sounds of silence.
No, I was not. No, I've never been like a real. Music.
I don't bust that out.
Yeah,
though.
that's not a typical move of mine. But I remember when we were playing around with Brain FM back in the day, and I was like, oh, this is like a kind of.
I remember you used to talk about
It
it
is
a
a
lot.
hack. I've tried it. It's great.
It is. It is a hack. I mean, I know this shouldn't go with the commercial, but you a little bit of cannabis with that. It's like the ultimate, the ultimate blend.
Stop.
You know what I'm saying?
I got an update for you guys on. You know how I was doing that like every other hour. I would pause.
Oh
and think
yeah.
about, Man, I had this
such a great practice.
I had
by the
a
way.
great experience the other morning. I woke up, and my son wakes up early, so I can't do what I'm normally going to do. But because of that practice, I pause and I pray and thank God for whatever blessings are happening. And I was just like, oh man, I get to spend more time with my son. Then later in the morning, my daughter wants me to drop her off at school. And normally I would drop her off at this one stop that a bus picks her up. She's like, can you take me all the way to school? I said, is it the same amount of time? She's like, yes, it is. Well, it turned out to be hella traffic and not. But while we're in there, I was getting annoyed for a second, and then I did the thing where I paused, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm in the car with my daughter. We had this great conversation. It changes your outlook on things. I felt so blessed to spend the extra time with my teenage daughter and the extra time with my son because I paused to pray about what I'm grateful for, and I saw the blessing, which I normally would have missed.
I totally I think appreciate that tip or you sharing that because I've actually applied it since we've talked about it quite a bit and have found the same thing.
Is it crazy? It's crazy.
Yeah, and what it really hacks into that I think is different than the traditional way that you hear people talk about gratitude, where it's like this end of the night type of deal, is that it interrupts the day and you become grateful for a lot of the other very small things that you would miss
Totally.
had you not tried to practice it through the day. I'll add to that another thing that I've been trying to do. So forget I think it was Arthur Brooks that was talking about it on our podcast or another podcast that I'm talking about, and like one of the keys to happiness is learning to want less.
Yes.
Right. And so
it's not about getting more, it's about wanting less.
Yes, exactly. That's like the ultimate hack to happiness. And so another practice I've been trying to do is that, and it could be as silly as this. I want a pair of new sneakers, or there's this new car I like. It doesn't matter. When I find myself wanting a thing or a new whatever, in that moment, I try and go like stop and then be grateful of the things that I have, and just practicing that just reminds me of that, and it's just another kind of gratitude practice. And I think it's just such an important thing that at some point you get to that level in your life when you start to appreciate what you have versus always reaching. And what I'm wrestling with, because I was sharing this with some of my family members that we were talking about this, and one of the things that I was telling them was just that. Have you ever looked at what percentage of first of all, what the percent, I don't know what the average of, this would be a cool stat. Doug, what percentage are most people's gross income that goes to their living expenses, their house? So
you mean just living expenses or just their home?
Their home.
Okay.
So they say you should keep it around 30%. So that's like a good advice is to
30% of your gross income. More than that should not go to your
home.
cost.
But I think the average is like 80. It's like something really, really high. And so a good like Dave Ramsey type of advice would be 30% of your gross income should be allocated towards your living expense, i.e.
That's
rent,
like the limit or whatever.
Rent or whatever. And so what does it say?
So this is on housing costs. You want something else besides that?
That's what I wanted was housing costs.
30%.
It says on average that's what they spend is 30%.
Wow, I would not think that the average. I don't think that's what the average person is. I think
that's a lot though, dude. That's a lot. 30% of income is a lot for a lot of people.
Think of most family.
Now, is that on gross income or net income? That's a good question.
That's on gross.
That's the 30% rule suggests. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's a good rule to live by. That's not what I don't know if that's right there. Average American spends around that. At least not in my circle. Almost every family or friend I know, their rent or their mortgage is more than half.
I know that's that number. I think it's giving you what the guideline is, what the advice is, not what actually happens.
I mean, so my point is, I was talking about this with my family of like, you know, how low of that percentage I've gotten down. In fact, the last 2 places I've moved, I've downsized my places and I feel happier today than I did any other time. And if you would have asked me in my 20s, the vision would have been this crazy, bigger, more and more and more. And I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten happier with less. And I think in return, I've been happier because of that.
Totally.
And it's not something that just happens overnight. It's a practice. Like you have to actually make an effort to doing that. And it's
my dad used to tell me this all the time. I mean, he grew up poor, you know, a poor Sicilian, and he talked about how happy they were being together all the time. And we didn't have these huge bedrooms to be in, and we would go outside and everybody would be together, and the neighborhood was together. And he would talk about how, you know, how unhappy people are with all this stuff. Because he saw, when he came here, it was like, man, people have so much stuff, but why are people unhappy? I know. It's crazy.
Yes, Doug's pulling these. Now I'm reading more stats you're pulling up that are more.
Well, this is for California.
Oh, okay.
So it's definitely higher in California.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, most of the people I know, they're spending a good chunk, like half of their money that they make is going towards their living expenses, which of course, because our housing prices. But I mean, I've significantly reduced that and was explaining to my family member how low I have that, way below 30%. And it's like, I'm happier there than, and I said, I recognize too, the freedom that causes. It allows, I mean, we've had challenges within the business and ups and downs. It's like, when you keep that so low and you're so comfortable with that being so low, then those times don't become as stressful as they used to. I mean, that used to be something that when you need every paycheck to survive and get by like that.
I know people that you have both husband and wife, they have kids, they're both working, and they both have good jobs, and they're both gone all the time because they have to live in this expensive area with this particular house, and they have to pay for daycare. And it's like, man,
that's most people,
and they're not doing well, and they're stressed out. It's like, it would be better off for you to find a place to who cares about this? You have this expensive house when you're not with your family and you're so stressed out anyway.
Well, you brought that stat up the other day that I was really fascinated by, was just the size of the house that's on average today compared to what
it's more than double than what it used to be.
I mean, people used to live and be just as happy as they were.
1,200 square foot house was the average in the 1960s.
Yeah.
And they had bigger families.
And yeah, exactly. So it's like you had more kids, bigger families. And you lived in half? I think it was half is what when you came up with the number. Yep. It was like half of what the size we are now. And it's just.
And then if you look at the footprint of a house and where people actually spend their time, it's like a lot of wasted space.
Heat map.
Well, that's what Katrina and I agreed when we came this way, because again, going back to what I thought was more bigger. All like, I want all these rooms, all this stuff. And we had a pretty good sized house 2 houses ago that was at least the biggest house I ever lived in. And I mean, I'm talking about rooms that nobody touched,
yeah.
Dude. I'm like, what a waste!
Yep.
What an absolute waste. So when this place came around, it was like, hey, let's really think about how we use a house, and that's what we need.
Yep.
Let's do our best to make it the way we want it, so we use it, and nothing more than that. And let's see what happens. And that's how this place is right now. It's like we use every room of that house, every room of that house on a weekly. Even the guest, we have 1 guest room. But I've got family or someone over on a weekly basis that are, and even us, we still use that thing every once in a while. And it's a significantly less footprint. Yeah, there you go. 1,500 to what was it back?
That's the median. Yeah.
That was back in 1960s.
Yeah. And now it's like over 2,000.
It's over 2,200 square feet. Hey, real quick, we have another podcast hosted by our fitness manager for personal trainers only. If you're a trainer or a coach and you want to become the best personal trainer and learn from the best trainers, it's called the Elite Trainer Podcast. Go check it out. The first episodes are with me or Adam or Justin or Doug, but there's more. Again, it's the Elite Trainer Podcast. Go find it on Spotify or YouTube or iTunes. Go check it out. This segment of the podcast is brought to you by Mind Pump Fitness Coaching. This is the #1 course that teaches trainers and coaches how to build sustainable 6-figure plus businesses and careers in fitness. Look, it's roundtable based, so you can hear Adam, Justin, and myself teaching you how to build a better business, get more leads, close more deals, close bigger deals, and be more effective trainers. By the way, our course is nationally recognized. In fact, it gives you 1.9 CEUs with or for your NASM certification. Find out more at mindpumpfitnesscoaching.com.
First question is from Clo Lifts. Should you train even if you're sore? What are the benefits or disadvantages of training when you're sore versus when you're not?
Depends how sore you are. Like if you're really sore, you probably take the day off. But if you've got like normal soreness, the kind that lasts like a day, a really low intensity workout probably helps recover faster.
Yeah. Blood flow helps.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, no matter what you train, you modify the intensity based off of how sore the soreness is, right? So even if I'm really sore,
you go stretch.
Yeah, then it's like then that's what the workout looks like. The workout looks like mobility, real lightweight, if anything, and just kind of moving through, getting the blood flow going and stuff like that to facilitate recovery. If I'm mildly sore, then it's like, okay, maybe I'll get a little like a machine workout, lower intensity. Like if it's even more, it's like, so I think that's a good way to do it, is that like you work out, but you learn to modify the intensity off the level of the soreness. Yep. And if you're sore to the touch, hitting a heavy workout again is not beneficial.
No, I remember when I want to say,
and that's the mistake I used to make.
Yes,
I
can't touch it.
I would be like sore of the chest, and it's chest day again. It's like we're hitting heavy, hard chest again. I was like, that was no wonder I didn't see no progress.
No, I remember I was 15 and I really overdid it, like I typically did at that age, and my legs were so sore that I tried to stay home from school. And I remember my mom came into my room, we got in a big argument, and she's like, let me stretch your legs out. And she wouldn't leave unless I let her do it. And then she did, and I stood up, and it was like way better just from moving. But yeah, trigger sessions, the trigger sessions Maps Anabolic, they facilitate recovery. They're low intensity, they're band workouts or mini workouts, and they help speed up recovery. So now if you're like always sore, always stiff, this is like chronic, you're fatigued, you probably should take some time off.
Well, you're overtrained.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If this is chronically happening, then this is great conversation for that, because again, I think this was me. Like I think I was chasing soreness. So, I mean, that's how bad and overtrained I was that like I was upset that if I wasn't sore to the touch, which is such a backwards way to think of it. But I think a lot of people fall into this trap.
No, some of my best gains were when I would have a light workout on a muscle that was sore and I had maybe overdone it, I would just get better results. But the workout was so light and so easy.
Yeah.
Next question is from Good Juju Gains. I have clients who work out early in the morning. With all the studies being released on the negatives of women working out fasted, what would you recommend them eating beforehand?
This is very individual, everybody. Like if you have a client that gets lightheaded, they just don't feel good, they seem to need something before they work out, something light and easy beforehand. I mean, I've had clients where they would eat a banana with some peanut butter,
bananas,
before they work out. And then I had many clients that just felt good. They felt good because they worked out so early. They felt better working out fasted. I don't work out. I don't eat before my workout. I work out typically 7 a.m. or so. And I don't eat until afterwards, and I feel great doing it this way. So it's super individual. So when it comes to these studies, you got to be careful because the individual variance is pretty wide. I think what you're seeing with these studies is chronic, like women who are chronically fasting. It might be what you're seeing,
and probably ignoring all the signals their body's already trying to give them.
Yeah,
I mean this is an example of like the studies mean nothing to me here. It's like this, and
I've seen so many people.
So does the sex. It doesn't matter if she's a woman. Doesn't matter if this is a man. It's like I'm asking my client how they feel, and if my client works out fasted and feels great, worked out fasted, I ain't changing a damn thing. But if we're working out and they're complaining, fatigue, dizzy, low energy, like that, we need to make, and what it might look, some clients, it looks like scheduling a big dinner. Some clients, it looks like a banana or a shake half hour on the way over there. Some clients, they get up, like every client, the strategy has been different, but it's purely off of feedback. It's 100% off of, let's try this. How do you feel?
I've also had some clients that will exhibit what seem to be symptoms of needing to eat. And then what we did is we just had water with electrolytes. And really that's what it was. They woke up and had no fluids.
Just dehydrated.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Give them some water with electrolytes and then they were suddenly feeling great. So it's super wide. So don't be one of those trainers where you read a study and then suddenly you apply it across all your clients. It's going to be a big mistake.
Next question is from Megala Dodds. What are your suggestions for mitigating burnout as a trainer? What are some ways you've learned to refill your cup after pouring into others during the week?
Oh, wow.
This is a good one.
This is hard.
Yeah, this is a tough one. You know, there's two strategies. I used to train a lot. I trained
Depends
a lot
what
of
stage
clients.
you're at too as a trainer.
I trained a lot of clients. I mean, for years I would train.
This is what made me move up to management.
50 sessions a week, and I did that for so long. And there were definitely times I would feel burnout, and there were two ways I would deal with this. One was just a mental shift. What did that look like? The conversations that I would have with my clients were ones that I found valuable to me. Yeah. And in fact, this is just a hack for trainers in general. Find ways to find your clients interesting, and find ways to learn from them while you're training them. And then it almost feels like you're getting the value out of the session. So I would train. Everybody's interesting if you ask them enough questions. That's just one thing I found as a trainer. But I have clients that were surgeons and doctors or executives or stay-at-home parents, and I would just ask them questions and ask them more questions. And my older clients, it was always questions about wisdom, or what was it like when you were selling houses in the 1960s in this area? What did it look like? Or with the surgeon, tell me about what happened yesterday. Did you have any crazy patients or procedures? And then it felt like I was interested. I was having a good time. That helped quite a bit. And then the second thing is you take some time off.
Yeah.
You get pushed too hard.
Time off.
You got to schedule time off.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that we just, we get kind of in that mode. I got to just work and I got to service all these people. But two, for me, I used to just schedule times where I could go to workshops and learn a new skill and learn something that I could bring back to my clients that would just spark a different conversation with them. But going further into this is why I asked about like the stage they're at, because maybe you're at the point now where you got to up the price point of your sessions.
Good point.
And start moving towards reducing volume.
Yep.
Which was huge for me, because like opening up that extra bit of space, I had more time to work on outside my business and really enjoy the quality of these sessions with people that I enjoyed to train.
Yeah, a lot of thoughts here for me. Like, one, this is what made me move out of personal training. Like, it was just a lot. It was like I fell out.
It's a lot of energy training people.
It's a ton. Especially if you're on and you're a chameleon and you really are giving it all to every client. Like, that's a massive energy suck for sure. And so I enjoyed moving up. But I used to toggle sprint, cruise. So like, it was very common in a pay period. I would service over 200 something sessions. So that's over 50 hours a week of clients. It's a lot. And so I would go through these sprints where I'd sprint really hard like that. And then I would cruise the next couple weeks. And during the times I was cruising, that's when I might be working on a certification, wakeboarding, doing something that's like more selfish. So I had more time for myself. And so I rarely ever just was full throttle for months at a time. Yep. I would do these kind of, and because you're a trainer and you can control a lot of your schedule, sometimes that looks like 14 days in a row of work, but then I would take 4 days off, or I would take, then that next week would be like half the client load. So I would do things like that. I had to, otherwise I would get,
what else helped me a lot too is, if I was training 10 clients in a day, 9 or 10 clients in a day, is my workout would be in the middle of the day. Because if I train,
I always train in the middle of the day.
That's how I became a middle of the day.
Yeah, because about 5 clients in a row, after that, I'm starting to get a little fried. And then if I worked out, I was ready to go for another 4 or 5 clients.
I actually think that's, I would guess most trainers train in the middle of the day like that. I mean, my whole career, that's why I became.
I knew some people that train first thing in the morning and then they go 8 clients straight. Yeah, and by the time you're at the end, you have no energy.
Yeah, no, I found the midday workout it almost makes it feel like it's too many days versus having one long day. Like
what's crazy about this too, because I know you guys were very similar. When I was going, sometimes one day off made me feel more burned out. Because I take that one day off.
That's why I like to go sprint and then cruise. Yeah. Because I'd rather go 14 days in a row and then have a week where it's really light.
Because one day off was like, okay, and I got to get back into the grind.
Yeah, it takes you out of the rhythm.
Too. It was weird. It was almost better to just go straight.
Yeah. And then I think Justin's point about where you're at charging right now is such a good point, because if you're training that many clients that you're getting,
you can charge more.
Yeah, you could probably charge more, and then inevitably you're going to lose a couple clients. But
what my challenge with that was is that because I could have and I should have done that from a business perspective, but I had clients that I just felt
super loyal to,
responsible and loyal to.
It's hard.
That it was like, okay.
What's funny is that that's such a good conversation to have for the trainers that are listening right now. It is hard, and that is a common thing that you're going to feel. But you know what? Most people respect and understand, especially if you position it that way. Like, man, I hate to do this to you, but I got to do this, and I understand if you can't or you don't want to, but I'm moving up my sessions, and it is what, you know what I'm saying? And so most people, and the ones that can't afford or can't do it will say they can't, and then the ones that understand will normally move up. But it is a good book for that. Crucial Conversations. It's a tough conversation. It's hard to have, but if you're going to scale and build, you need to learn how to do it.
Next question is from Kevin OG. How do you think you'd hold up in a apocalyptic situation?
Do we get each other?
What would be your first move?
Do we get each other?
No.
Or are we alone? Because if we're alone, we're fucked.
You know what's funny? As we were going, I saw this question and I thought, what? Because I have no apocalyptic skills.
I disagree.
I have one skill, and it's sales skills.
Oh, okay.
And I think what I would do is I would somehow sell myself into, okay, well, I'm going to help you guys do this.
So I'm a relationship builder. So I'm gonna go build some relationships.
So very similar.
Yeah.
About you'd like assume a whole cult, like ready to go.
Well, I guess you could put it in that category.
And then I'd be your deal maker. I'd convince the other tribes to join us and make the deal on what they get.
Create the structure and the.
Meanwhile, Justin would be actually building shelter.
Yeah, I'll be doing all that.
He would be the hunter, shelter.
The problem is I won't be doing it for anybody else. Like I'll be like gone. Yeah, I'll be out in the wilderness, dude. I'll be like face painted and everything.
Predator.
Dude, like ready to just kill
he's
people.
like, hey, you never seen those, like, you know, if you take like a farm pig, but they go in the wilderness, they quickly go feral and they turn into a boar. Do you know that?
100%.
That's Justin.
Yeah.
If the apocalypse
Shark
hit,
eyes are coming out. Dude,
it would be a week before Justin would turn into a straight up caveman. I would die.
It'd be
bro.
bad.
No, or I wouldn't. I shouldn't speak. I speak for myself. I would not do good whatsoever. I mean, I'm pretty resourceful, and I would do my best to figure it out. I wouldn't just definitely give up, but I am not, Ben Greenfield, been training myself to bow hunt and to do all these things, these important skills in case we were in that situation. But I think we would lean into our strengths, our mouthpiece. I can make some deals. You know what I'm saying?
You could wheel and deal your way
I'm
through
pretty
it.
good at relationship building, and maybe that would work.
Convince people to give you some food.
Yeah.
What would you do, Doug? What's your skill?
It's a good question. I honestly don't know.
You're probably the most prepared. I bet you have like
I'm pretty prepared actually.
He is.
Hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no. That's upcoming to your house.
That's why he would survive, because he has the things. He's got the guns. He's got the food. He's got the silver.
He's already been prepping this whole time.
Yeah, he's not worried. He's a prepper. So.
I'm slightly a prepper. Yes, that is true.
I believe that. Yeah.
All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. One of the keys to fat loss is protein. It's true. If you're not eating a high protein diet, you're not going to burn as much body fat as you can. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the smartest ways to use protein for fat burn and to build muscle. You got to watch this.
I wish I understood this earlier in my career. I think it was probably almost 10 years in when I started to just focus on this with clients.
I knew it was important,
but
I don't know how important.
Yeah, I knew it was important, but I also didn't